Hi, this is Laura Whitney with Cache Valley Counseling, and welcome to Max Group. This group is something we do here at Cache Valley Counseling to try to support and help people with various issues. It's not therapy; it's just a group of people coming together to cope with a variety of presenting problems. Information discussed and shared in this group is intended to support the therapeutic process and increase readiness for change. However, if you are feeling suicidal or having life-threatening thoughts, this group is not a place to discuss that. Please consider calling 988, getting in touch with your therapist as soon as possible, or reaching out to a loved one to help you access additional resources. We are recording this and it's available on our YouTube channel to rewatch. So if you're not comfortable turning your camera on, that's okay. I'm actually pre-recording this, so there won't be anybody to turn cameras on. So what I want to talk about today is actually coping in winter and in holiday times. That can be some tough times for some of us. So we all know that in winter here in the Northern Hemisphere, our days get shorter. We often have long work days still, long school days still. The days get shorter and darker. The weather gets colder. Here where I live in Cache Valley, Utah, we get an inversion a lot of the time, so the air is kind of gross. The trees are bare. The flowers have died. The birds have flown south. There's a lot of things that can kind of make it a dreary time of year for a lot of us. And it can be kind of hard to cope. And this is the time of year that we often miss those that we love that aren't here as well. It's especially hard if they happen to pass away around the holidays or in these darker months. So there's a lot of hard things that we deal with in these months. So I want to kind of talk about some coping skills and some things that work for me and for some friends. I actually asked some of my friends and family, like, how do you deal with the tough times around the holidays and in the winter season? So I'm just going to kind of read through some of the things that some people mentioned to me and share those with you. So one of the things that was mentioned is spending time with friends and family. Now, this can be a tricky one because we all know spending time with particularly family can sometimes actually be really stressful. I spent some time this morning with a friend who was struggling with the family party that she'd recently been to. Seeing our differences, old triggers, old buttons that are being pushed. Some of this can be really tricky when we get together with our families. So we get to ask ourselves, is this helpful to me or is this not helpful for me? And for me, I know I like to kind of give people the benefit of the doubt that maybe they're not trying to push my buttons, but also set boundaries where I need to. Set the schedule for my trips to something that is what I know I can handle. Make sure I prepare myself before I go emotionally and mentally, and bring things with me that are like I like to read or my music with me or something like that that's going to help me be able to go find my quiet space and do my own thing if I have to in the midst of spending several days with family. So you get to kind of set those boundaries as you need to determine how much time you should or shouldn't spend with friends and family over this time. Exercise is really important. It's really good for us to get our blood moving. I am not a huge exerciser, but I do know that it helps me to just kind of do a little bit of something. I sometimes just walk up and down the stairs to my basement, just get the blood moving a little bit. Or some stretching, yoga, that kind of thing. Anything that we can do to kind of just like get our body moving and wake it up can be really helpful for us. Getting the downtime that we need is important. I personally have tried to embrace the idea of fall and winter as periods of dormancy in our lives. Like, let's follow the earth, let's follow Mother Nature, the example that we get. Now, this is hard in a society where we don't really allow ourselves to do this anymore. We're not agrarian. We are working in offices and we're going to school and we've got electricity and we've got all these things that keep us up late at night and up early in the morning. But where can we find things to let go? Where can we realize that maybe it's okay to be a little sad? Maybe it's okay to be a little less active. Maybe it's okay to spend a little bit more time inside reading or sleeping, letting our body have a little bit of rest and rejuvenation time. because that's what the trees are doing. That's what the flowers are doing. That's what a lot of the animals are doing. So that when spring comes, we can then bloom. We can't bloom all year long. We have times where we can conserve. The earth has seasons for a reason, and we can have seasons too. So to let yourself even acknowledge that you can have a season of less energy, maybe even a little bit of sadness, and just knowing that that's where you're going to be. How we eat is really important. We know that we get lots of sugar and carbs and yummy stuff over the holidays. I have lots of stuff that my neighbors have already brought me at home. But I've kind of learned to give myself some permission to maybe try everything, but not finish everything. And I've even allowed myself to throw some things away. If it's not worth it to me, if it's not going to really make me feel good, I don't have to. I can appreciate the gift, taste it, savor that for a little bit, and then I can throw the rest away. And I let myself do that. So balancing carbs and sugars with some fruits and vegetables. I had a pretty not great few days there where I didn't eat a lot and I was just really craving a salad. And so I made sure that I got a salad in a couple of days in a row after a couple of days of not doing that. Watching alcohol intake is also important. We all know alcohol is a depressant. It's got lots of calories, so it doesn't usually make us feel better in the long run if we're overindulging in alcohol. So just kind of be aware of that. Same with caffeine. These things we think can make us feel better in the short term, but they might have longer term negative effects for us. And you get to know your own body and what works for you. So you just get to pay attention to that. Vitamin D, we get less vitamin D over these shorter days. We're not outside as much. There's just not as much sunlight out there. So you might want to be taking a vitamin D supplement, work with your doctor on that and see if that's something that you need or might be helpful for you. There's also light lamps. They use these in the northern countries, or even up in Alaska and Canada and, Norway, Finland, that kind of thing. So you can get a little bit extra light if you need to. Fun things, fun hobbies for yourself: quilting, puzzles, reading, drawing, listening to music or performing music, anything like that that lifts your spirits. Absolutely make time and space for that. When it comes to the people that we miss, our loved ones that aren't here with us anymore, I think it's helpful to honor them by doing things that they loved, some of their traditions. My father actually passed away in December, and his birthday is in early January. And on his birthday, I always watch a movie that is a favorite for both my dad and I. And that's just my way of honoring him early in January when winter's, the holidays are over, but winter's still really settled in. Laughing with other people about memories of our loved ones. Bring them alive. It's okay. If we try to ignore them, the pain is still there. So it's okay to go ahead and acknowledge the sadness, acknowledge that we miss them, but remember the things that we loved about them. Try to emulate the things we loved about them and honor them. They're worthy of our tears. Of course they are. We love them and we miss them. So make a little bit of space for your grief in this time as well. With the days getting shorter, there's a beautiful thing that happens in just a few days, the winter solstice. And this makes a lot of people sad to enter into winter, but a neat little trick I found is the days actually start getting longer on winter solstice. So as soon as winter begins, we are starting to get more daylight back. So make a little project or a game out of tracking sunrise and sunset so you can start to acknowledge the lengthening of days and really appreciate that in your life. I personally like to keep my Christmas lights up until at least Valentine's Day. And I'll put away like the Christmas decor, the nativities and the Santas, but I'll leave up snowmen and that kind of stuff well into March or April. It just kind of depends what the weather's doing and frankly when Easter is. But maybe in February or March, I start to pull out some of my little like flower or spring decor and I'll start interspersing that with my snowmen because that's what's happening out in the world. So create the environment around you that brings you joy, that brings you hope. And again, just kind of notice what's happening for you in your life. You can make space for sadness. You can make space for a little bit of overindulging. You just want to be really aware of what you're doing and allow yourself time to be happy, to be sad, to know, okay, I struggle with these things at this time of year, I struggle with this particular date. You get to curate your life to be what works best for you. So, those are the things that I recommend for good mental health in the holidays and through the winter season. And I hope that you're able to have some joyful times alone and with family, and that you can see that spring will be here soon. Have a great holiday season.